Hi, everybody. Shannon Petrovich with Therapist Talks. We're going to continue this casual conversational Q&A format. So if you have a question or comment, please leave it in the comment section below, and I'll address each question as it comes in and as I get a chance. I want to address some questions around trauma bonding today. Trauma bonding is a really intriguing thing that happens when you are in relationship with someone with narcissistic traits and narcissistic personality or abusive traits of any sort. And trauma bonding means that you begin to get drawn into relationship with that person and have a really hard time getting out. How does this happen? So first of all, it happens because there's this back and forth that starts. Typically, it's a love bombing that begins the whole deal. And so this sort of mirroring, love bombing, you're the best, you're the only person for me, blah, 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 blah. And it's peppered with devaluing and undermining and withdrawing. So when you pepper the love bombing and the devaluing or withdrawing, the person, you start to become sucked into feeling like you're only validated when you're with that person and otherwise you're less than. If you already carry some hurt emotions from your childhood, if you already carry a narcissistic childhood pattern with a parent or with a sibling or something like that, then you are more prone to listening to this and to getting involved in this and engaged in this. Because a person can't insult you without your participation. This is a famous Eleanor Roosevelt quote. But it's really true. If somebody devalues you and you feel good about yourself, you're going to walk away from that person. If someone devalues you and you sort of feel that way about yourself already, then you start to fall into relationship with that person. So it's really important in early relationships that you recognize when someone is doing this love bombing, devaluing, love bombing, abandoning, and that this back and forth is very seductive and very much the cornerstone and also the foundation of a trauma bonding relationship. When you see this happening in an early relationship, you know you're in with somebody who is not going to be healthy for you. Really important to get out while the getting's good. Get out before you get sucked in any further. So what happens if you're already trauma bonded to this person? Recognizing what's happened is really crucial. And recognizing how you have become sort of complicit in your own trauma bond. So the thing to recognize in this is how are you now undermining and devaluing and participating yourself? And this is the part that's really hurtful because once we start to devalue ourselves, their work is done. In other words, they have instigated this whole thing, but now we are doing it to ourselves. And that's when we have to recognize that it's not about just severing with that person. It's about learning how to support ourselves again. Because we can't get healthy if we're constantly berating ourselves and putting ourselves down and devaluing ourselves and insulting ourselves. That happens so much in the work that I do. I would say that's one of the most main and foundational issues that we talk about. When people degrade, devalue, and undermine themselves, that's what is foundational in all of the work. So recognizing those ways that you're doing that to yourself is really crucial in healing. And then recognizing that that was an old message, maybe it was an old message from childhood that was resurrected in this current relationship, and now that's being promulgated by you yourself. So recognizing that, and then taking it out and looking at it and the truth of it. What is the truth of that? Are you that person? Do you really feel that way about yourself? If you do, then you need to get feedback from other people about who you are and what your strengths are and what your real character qualities are that are redeeming and wonderful. Everybody has wonderful character qualities in some area, and those areas that you do respect and love about yourself. So finding those areas is a part of the journey that's so crucial, because that's how you then support yourself while you're getting out of that other relationship and while you're disconnecting from the trauma bond that you've created with that person. Once you've disconnected from that trauma bond, once you've learned how to support yourself, once you've learned how to recognize those devaluing messages coming from other people and coming from within yourself, then you can be mentally and emotionally healthy, and then you can get into a healthier relationship with a healthier person, and you can suss out those narcissists before they get under your skin. So those are really important things, and hopefully that was helpful. So why are there so many narcissists in the world? And this came from a viewer who said something about having a daughter who's a narcissist who has addiction issues. So when a person is lost in addiction, they are by definition lost in self-centeredness and narcissistic qualities. So it's hard to say whether a person who is an addict really has a narcissistic personality or just narcissistic traits because of their addiction. When a person gets free of addiction and gets in recovery in full, typically they will lose those narcissistic qualities over the course of their recovery, but not always. Sometimes that narcissism is entrenched and that's not going to change just because the person gets into recovery. So those two things are separate, and yet they go together. And it just depends on the person. But why are there so many narcissists in the world? This is a good question, and the answer is that it has become a very self-centered, very narcissistically focused culture. And I do believe the culture has a lot to do with it. So recognizing those things within ourselves and sussing out what the character qualities are that are non-narcissistic, really focusing with our kids on empathy, on caring for others, on being there for others, but in a healthy, balanced way. Those things are crucial to undermining this narcissistic tendency in the world. Hope that's been helpful. Again, please leave your comments in the section below, and we will keep doing this Q&A. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you again soon.